You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm William.
And today's live stream call-in show, we're going to talk to you about gameplay logging your gameplays. So I was listening to Alex on Board Game Co. I'm not sure if anybody else watches Board Game Co.
A little bit, not too much.
I don't think I have.
He was talking about logging plays and why he does it and how he does it and some of the theory behind it. And it got me thinking about that same topic because I know I started logging plays. I've been logging plays for a while.
Years ago, at least.
But I kind of changed back and forth in how I do it. So I wanted to hear from the folks at home on how you do it. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. 813-618-7099 is the number. And the phone line is open, so give us a call. Let us know what are your thoughts on logging games. How do you handle that?
All right, well, then tell us when you started, why you started, why did you start suddenly logging plays? Because I know we went years of gaming where you never logged anything, and then I know a few of our friends mentioned that they were doing it, and I remember you tried a couple of different programs. I remember you downloaded like 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and then settled on one you finally liked. But
we got Wayne in the chat. How you doing, Wayne? We got Cutlery in the chat.
Cutlery, cool, Cutlery.
Not familiar. Zeno's in there.
Yeah, Brian Zeno's in there.
Hey, folks. Thanks for joining us.
Mr. G's.
Oh,
hey,
Chicago in the house, Chi-Town.
Sweet.
So thanks you for joining us for the podcast, for the live stream.
Live stream, yeah.
So, for me, the logging of stats or gameplays has been something I've always done because of baseball. So I just go there as a baseball coach, as a baseball dad. I've got multiple of those Moleskine books, little mini Moleskine books.
Oh, yeah.
With games from, 6, 7, 8 years ago that my kids played in, where I just kind of kept stats of all their baseball games. So, yes, that's it. I can go in there and tell you in 2015 how my son did in a game he played in.
You do know that we had cell phones back then, right?
I do, but I love pen and paper. Like pen and paper writing, to me, it works. It feels so right. And then when I go back and look at those in my library, the books that I have there, how old and torn they are, right?
The kids would say you're old.
Right, they could say that.
Yeah, probably.
But I also did that for X-Wing back when William and I first met, 2013, 2014 X-Wing time frame. Any tournament I went to, I would log using paper books.
That was our first caller.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
It's Mitchell from Louisiana. What's up?
Hey, Mitchell. We're talking about logging plays. What are you talking about?
Well, I figured I'd call in on that and then talk about a game after that. How about?
Sweet. Let's do it.
On topic and off topic. Okay, so logging plays is not something I do. It's something that a lot of people in my gaming group do. But I don't know if competitive is the right word or completionist is the right word, but by the time I guess I got deep enough into the tabletop gaming hobby to realize that it was a thing, I felt like if I started logging then, it's like, well, what about all the previous games that I never logged?
There you go.
And so that really irked me. Second thing is that there's no way I'm going to remember I play games way too much to remember every time.
Yeah.
I try my best to take pictures, at least of the boxes of what games I play each time, and I post them up in the Beans and Dice gaming community on Facebook, and also we have a group, a Louisiana board gaming group I post in. So
thanks for the shout out on that. I appreciate that. Nice plug for the Beans and Dice.
I like the conversation it sparks. I play something and then I post it up and somebody will say, I like that, or I didn't like that, or I want to try that, or what was it like? It's a nice, a cross-country discussion that it can spark.
Sure.
So that's more of an unofficial log, I guess I would say. I definitely, it's not, who had this many points and who won and all that, but it's at least keeping a pseudo record, and that's about as much as I do. But I have a lot of gamers in my group that are super hard into it, and it's like I start picking up the game and I'm like, wait, how many points did you have?
Right.
And
I'm that guy.
So and I respect that, and I think it's cool. It's just I can't be that consistent.
That part annoys me.
No, because they want to start putting everything away, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
I want to get some pictures.
I want
to write down.
Move to the next game. Let's get it cleaned up.
That part, not too bad. But it's like, wait, what's your score? What's your score? What's your score? Like, dude, doesn't matter. You won. Let's go to the
It
next
does
game.
matter. Go ahead, Mitchell. Keep going.
For me, as long as we know who won,
There you
that's
go.
enough.
I
want to know wins and losses.
Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you.
It's just so I try to snap pictures during the game. Once the game is over, it's too late. You missed your chance to snap pictures. It's time to tear it down so you can set up the next one.
No, wait. There's something we haven't discussed though. You guys used to log plays on the inside game box.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a different way to log it.
Yeah.
Do you keep a record, Mitchell? So you're not logging your plays, but do you keep any records of wins and losses anywhere at all? Anything?
In newer games, I unofficially keep a kind of a mental log, not on purpose. It's just I kind of for street cred, like, hey, yeah, I've only played this 3 times and I won every time. But once you get a few dozen plays in, it kind of starts to get fuzzy. So especially in the newer games, we kind of know the ratio.
Okay.
Well, what William was referring to is Carlos, and he introduced me to this. I'd never seen anybody do it before I started gaming with him. This was many years ago, but he used to, and I guess not so much anymore, but he used to write in the lid of the box. He'd have a Sharpie, and he would have high scores for like different player counts. So if it was a game that played, like, say, 2, 3, or 4 players, he would log whoever had the highest score at a 2-player count or a 3-player count or a 4-player count in those games where you can calculate an in-game score. And then if somebody, at the end of the game, if somebody had beat the high score, he'd strike through the old one and then have the person write their new score, write their name and their score, and I think the date that they did it. And it was kind of a cool little log that would.
Yeah, before I started logging in other ways, I would keep it inside the box, but apparently that turned some people off.
That's a bad thing to me in all ways. First of all, that's like sacrilege. Okay.
Okay. Right.
I know you don't care about your components, Carlos. You just throw them in the box, but that's sacrilege. Secondly, for some games by now, I would have run out of room in the game box.
No, you only put the highest score if the high score changes.
Beat. Yeah, only if somebody's beat the old highest score.
Okay.
So you'll find Terraforming Mars, Rob still holds the 4-player high score on it?
Probably 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, shut up. Carry on.
Like
back to Mitchell. I'm turning off his microphone.
So I think didn't Rise of Fenris have something like that? Like the first person to win with this faction, the highest score with this. Yeah. See, that was dedicated to that. That's a little different.
Yeah.
And I like that, okay. And we did use that to an extent, but we don't play with Fenris every time. We use some of the components, so it's not as useful as it would be as in like a base game situation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your input on keeping logging plays or scoring plays. That was. I'm not surprised to hear that you're more on the Robert side of things.
Oh no, yeah.
As always, Rob's the best.
There we go. I liked it. He said it. You heard it.
But see, the problem is I can't seem to get a win when it comes to Mitchell. He just had his recent video on Board Game Battles where his kids did Reef and Santorini, and of course,
did you choose the wrong one again.
I'm like,
actually, I saw him read it. So
I'm winless when it comes to Board Game Battles. I picked Santorini,
and Reef won,
and the folks at home said Reef.
Yeah,
hey, Reef all the way, bro.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's it. Yeah, Mitchell and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, Mitchell, you said you had a game you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, so my buddy randomly picked up this game. I think it was at Target. It was on sale. He knew nothing about it. He just picked it up. And that's not something I typically do. Usually I have to at least have looked it up.
Sure.
But it was called Rise of Tribes. It's not a super big game. I had never heard of it before. It's about 3 years old. You guys ever heard of this one?
No, not familiar with it.
I've seen the box.
I'm pulling it up here. It's a 2018 release, but go ahead.
Yeah, Breaking Games, I'd never even heard of that publisher. Have y'all heard of that publisher?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
No? Yeah, so I guess it's more of an indie thing. The component quality is a little bit lacking, so I'm sure it's a smaller company. The tile is very flimsy, but the artwork is really nice. I like it, and I don't know if this is maybe getting a little bit of buzz because it looks like it may have some paleo similar thematics. It's like Stone Age, caveman kind of thing. But it has a really unique mechanic that I really like. So there are 4 main actions. There's like move, grow your army, gather resources, and draw cards. So you all have a deck. You all have a symmetric deck. So it's not a deck builder, but you have to do actions to pull cards from the deck. And so on your turn, you roll 2 dice. The dice, they're D6s. You can get a sun, a moon, or a blank. And what you have to do for each one is that, so each of those 4 actions starts with randomly 3 dice on it. And so on your turn, you have to do 2 different actions, and you slide the die in to the left side and push the rightmost one off. And so if you have doubles of either sun or moon, it could be good or bad. So if after you've placed your dice, there are 2 suns, then it makes your action stronger. So I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say the base action is to add 4 meeples. Then if you have 2 suns, like there's more daylight, you have more time to do stuff, then you might add 6 meeples. But if there's 2 moons, then you'll only add 2 meeples, for example. So it is a dice game, which, Rob, I know.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that it's not just the randomness is a little less chaotic, because even though, yes, if I get 2 moons, it's probably going to make it almost impossible for me to get that better action unless there were 3 suns out already. But I'm putting a moon in that I know in a future turn is going to be affecting another player. So it's like we both get the bad luck. So I really like that mechanic of it. And then if you roll, so it seems that part of it is very simple. But then anytime you roll doubles, there's an event that flips up. And we didn't get through nearly all the events, but it incentivizes you or de-incentivizes you to do certain actions. Like if you do the gather action, then you'll gather 2 extra or something like that, but can only be done 3 times. So it's like it gives you direction, whereas you have all these options. It's like, maybe I want to do the move action, but if I do the gather action this round, then it's more bang for my buck. And if I don't do it, then it's letting someone else do it twice. So it's usually equal to the player count, how many times you could do that. So those events really switch up the gameplay a little bit. And it's a good bit of fun. I enjoyed it.
You said this was a Target pickup?
I believe he said he got it at Target. Yeah.
The components on this thing look amazing.
Yeah, all the little wooden bits.
The meeples look great.
Like I said, the meeples are nice, and each tribe has a different weapon. The art is really good, I would say, but the cardboard pieces are like paper thin. Like the tiles, they're hexes, like Catan.
I can see
but
that.
They're they're very, very thin. Now, my friend had the upgraded bits. He had like some wooden cutout resources, and like one of the events is like a mammoth he had bought, which, I could do with or without upgraded resources, unless it's a game I really, really love.
Sure.
But what really drew me at first is just the artwork, and then the gameplay was a good bit of fun. It was something unique I hadn't seen before with those, trying to get sets of those dice to be in your favor and out of favor for the person who's after you.
Yeah, I'm getting feels of Wari when it comes to the artwork.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Right? That nature kind of spiritual feeling to it. But then I'm getting feels of Dice Thrones when it comes to the dice usage.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to get combos of certain dice to place them, to use them for certain actions. And then there's the
What was the name of that first game you mentioned? I haven't heard of that one.
Iwari? Iwari?
Oh, yeah, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, there's a video on the channel of our first ever teach play. We had a buddy of ours, Patrick, come in and he taught me how to play Wari. So we recorded the learn to play on it. Wari's a good one. It's a great area control game.
Yeah, a little puzzly, but it wasn't heavily puzzly, so I liked it. Yeah.
Oh, the scoring mechanisms are awesome. But check it out, Wari.
Good, yeah.
So I get some good feels from Rise of Tribes. Robert, what's the BGG stats on this one?
Clearance?
Oh, yeah, it's a 7.2.
I'll let Rob do that. I'm sure he's going to do it.
No, real quick, just 7.2 on the rating there. It's a 2018 release. It says 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes. It's a weight of 2.17, which is not real heavy. And let's see, you mentioned designers Brad Brooks and publisher Breaking Games. So yeah, I haven't heard of anything else from them.
There's so many games coming out that
not a real game. One.
Oh, they did Dwellings of Elderville. Okay, I'm seeing that. I just pulled it up here. Dwellings of Elderville is the only other one I recognize. But I'm sorry. And Asking for Troubles. That's actually another pretty popular game. So
wow, that game had a lot of good components though. Surprised.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm looking now. It says they have 103 games out. Wow, it's crazy. But yeah, Elderville. I'm looking myself.
Cool.
Doesn't it amaze you, Mitchell, with as much gaming as we do, we think we see it all, we think we play it all.
Scratch the surface.
But, I mean, when you've got
we're rookies,
hundreds of games coming out a day, right? There's no way that we're going to be able to keep up with all, and so many good games are going to fall through the crack, don't you think?
Absolutely. That's why I love this show, because I find out about other games that I've never heard of that I need to try out.
That's why I like when you call in, you teach us about... Because your game group is completely different than ours.
Oh, yeah.
We hear some stories about the games that you guys play over there, and that's why I'm glad you continue to call and share in. And this is a call to action to everyone in the chat room and everyone listening at home. call in, tell us what your gaming group is playing, because it's going to be so different than everyone else's.
Yeah.
Share those experiences. So, Mitchell, thank you for leading
Once
from the
again.
front on that, man. I appreciate it.
As always.
For sure, I enjoy it, and it benefits you guys hearing about my games, and it benefits me. It's a mutual benefit, so I enjoy it as well.
We call that community.
Yeah.
Take care, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
Sure.
Thanks for calling.
All right, yeah. See ya. Bye.
That opens up the phone line. 813-618-7099 is the phone line. That I've never heard of that game, but you said the publisher did Dwellings of Eldervale?
Yeah, did Dwellings of Eldervale.
Right, because I kind of got some feels from the tiles of that, like large hexagonal.
Hexagonal, yeah. Your favorite word, yeah. 103 games, yeah, that's crazy. So, but Asking for Troubles, again, that's another pretty popular one that's rated, 2,514 right
I want to
now.
play that.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a good one.
It is a real game. It doesn't have an app, William.
Yeah, we got another caller.
It's still one.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
I'm Kai. I'm calling from Spring Hill.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Kai.
Hello, Kai.
Hey.
What's going on?
We've been playing some board games recently. Tiny Epic board games.
Oh,
y'all went on a tiny epic addiction
Seen all the
lately.
pictures posted, yeah.
Zeno just dumps in head first into the deep end when it comes to board games.
What do you want to share about Tiny Epic? What are your thoughts?
I think it's very resourceful. I'm surprised on how much fits in the box.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of game in a little package.
It's kind of like Kai.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of game in a little package, yeah.
Exactly, just like your castle.
No, hey, you lost your castle just as much as we. Kai and I had a game this last week at game day.
Yeah, yeah.
Kai put all his effort into destroying my castle,
Yeah.
Wow.
and he did. He
Good
got
job.
me.
Good
He
job,
sacked
Kai.
me.
Little Heroes
Good.
of Land, Air, and Sea, yeah.
Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. He was the bird people, and I was the dwarves. He brought his bird people down and took over my castle. However, by doing so, he left his castle open, and Ed did a teleportation and brought a golem up there and used that golem to take his castle. So it's both Kai and I were out of the game.
Nice.
0 points each of us. So thanks, Kai. I appreciate you. Now, let me look into the camera here on this one. Thanks, Kai. I appreciate you.
No bitterness there.
Uh-huh.
No?
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we both do.
We
yeah.
both do. Yeah.
Oh, we all love Kai. He's a great little. All right, talk to me about Tiny Epic. Which one's your favorite so far that you've played?
I'm gonna have to go with Tiny Epic Zombies. I like Tiny Epic
Zombies. I haven't played Zombies
I
yet.
have 2 copies of
Have
Zombies
you played
and
it?
the mat and still haven't played it.
I
So,
haven't
Kai,
played
you're
it
telling me
either.
that one's got to get to the table?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You have to complete 3 missions, and the minis are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little meeples that come with it.
Guns on meeples.
Yeah, all the Tiny Epic games do pretty
Yeah, but
cool
they have
stuff with the minis.
printed on the meeples too. The meeples are actually, I believe, have print on
Screen
them.
printed? Cool.
Like screen printed. Yeah, like Groot.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of our favorite, Rob and I, Tiny Epic Galaxies? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's like a Pocket TI-4.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little bit.
I feel that way too.
Yeah, a little bit. Mm.
I like it quite a bit. It's a lot of strategy in such a small box.
And did you see how Gamelin Games, who also did Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, did you see how that follow mechanism went from Tiny Epic Galaxies into their big box game?
Exactly, yeah.
That's a good setup. Those are great games, Kai. Keep them going. I've got some Tiny Epics as well. I know that Nick Oben and I are committing to getting together to play all of the Tiny Epics I have.
Oh, nice.
So we can review them all and talk about them all. We're about to get Tiny Epic Dungeon soon.
Cool.
We just got Tiny Epic Pirates. So we'll have more Tiny Epic for you and your dad for us to share our thoughts on it soon.
I also played this game called Downfall.
Okay. Tell me about Downfall.
It was quite interesting. You have to explore certain tiles. You're in like a nuclear winter, and radiation spreads very rapidly.
What
And
does
your
the
goal is to
radiation
collect
do?
food. It kills a lot of things in the area.
No, science.
Yeah, that's what radiation does, Carlos. Yeah.
You have to defend. Dead zones start to combine and combust everywhere.
So the board is ever shrinking? Is that what's happening?
Yes, sometimes you get cornered in. You get airships, bunkers, survivors. And the goal is to score the most points at the end of the game.
That looks like a pretty heavy game, Rob. Rob's got the BGG up, and it said like 3.8.
Oh,
On
that game might be hard to get now.
Is it a Tasty Minstrel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is a Tasty Minstrel game.
Oh, yeah, wow.
It's got a very heavy rules rating, though. Kai, if I remember correctly,
this is a kid who plays TI4.
I think he's 13 or 14. How old are you now, Kai?
He plays TI4.
I am 12.
I'm 12.
There you go.
That was in the movie Benchwarmers. I am 12. Kai, at 12 years old, at a 3.8 difficulty rating for rules, what's your rating on the rules, learning it?
I think I'd give it like a 2. It's not that difficult to understand.
Okay.
There you go.
Damn.
Yeah, he's been playing Twilight Imperium third edition and fourth edition since he was a kid.
He's fine,
The
man.
little guy.
You just take something that's completely complicated, he'll figure it out.
You know, this is in line with what you and your family love to play. I always see you guys playing a lot of the 4X, dudes on a map type games. This is right in line with that.
Games of conflict.
Well, thank you for calling in and sharing about Downfall and your love of Tiny Epic Galaxies. Don't make it the last time you call in, okay?
Okay.
Take care, little buddy.
Thanks for calling. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye. Can't believe you destroyed my castle.
That's the best,
You just wanted to get back to that.
That's the best part of that call.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was rough. I tried to fight him. I couldn't do it. And in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, the combat mechanism is so different. It's a card play mechanism, like a rock, paper, scissors, but there's 7 or 8 options, and each card costs something different. So you can kind of narrow down what your opponent's options are. And some cards specifically target your opponent's card. If you pick the right one, you can really get bonuses to your defense or attack. And he knew exactly what I had on my board. He knew what my options were. And multiple times he correctly selected which card I had and played the counter to it.
All right.
He's like, oh, well, that cancels your card, and that gives me +4, and you lose this much.
He's on it.
Oh, he had me trapped.
Yeah, you can be careful playing against him.
We got Mr. Jeeves was talking about his friends has Galaxies, and he's going to need to convince him to play it. Yes, you are.
That's a good one.
Wayne Kruger in the chat says Galaxies is still the best, but a lot of good games in that line. I agree with Wayne. A lot of good games. I still find Galaxies to be the best. Their new version of Galaxies, a good one, is called Blast Off.
I don't think I played that one yet.
Yeah, I just got it in a few months ago and played it. It's simplified a little bit.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
so maybe it takes the rules down by 10, 20%, just to make it a little more family friendly.
Got another caller.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name, where you calling from.
Hey guys, this is Wayne from Tampa. How's it going?
Hey, Wayne.
Going well, Wayne. We're logging our plays and writing them down. How about you?
Not me.
Yeah, I've been gaming my whole life, and I never logged plays. And then maybe 3 years ago, I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna log all my plays, and I downloaded an app for logging plays and scores and locations and who you play with, and I was really good for about 6 months doing it, and then went to a game day and played like 10 games in a day and didn't log one of them, and then I'm like, how am I gonna go back? And so I tried to go back and relog them, and then the next week I forgot to do a game again. It's just like, is it really worth the effort? Like, who cares, right? We're playing games, we're having fun, win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. I like the idea that the app I was using was an app called ScorePal, and it was pretty cool because it had like users could build how to score the game. So it helped some of the more complex games. It would help score. Figure out who, all the different, some of those, point salad type games. But after that, it was like, is it really worth it? So I stopped doing it after that year because I was just like, it's just too much hassle.
So it wasn't just logging your plays; it was actually helping you calculate scores for games.
Yeah, the app was good because like you could search for games and find like people would build how to score, and you could put in the players and the location you're playing. You could like name your house or your friend's house, and then there was different ones where it would help you score. So some of those more complex games, it would help you. You could type it in, and it would calculate the score, and as you entered it, it was great.
Cool.
But then like in a game day where you're playing a bunch of quick, easy, light games, you kind of forget to do it. And then it was like, it's not worth it, or not worth continuing it. The one thing I want to do once sort of the world is back to normal is do the 10 by 10 challenge and get like a little board for my wall where you pick 10 games, you can play those 10 games 10 times. That would be cool. because
That's a different way of tracking that I didn't even think about. The 10 by 10 challenge is a method of tracking.
So me and my son tried to do that last year. We both made a little 10 by 10, and he got about halfway, maybe a third of the way through his, and then we started getting on in the months, and he kind of gave up on it. And then I didn't get very far in mine, but I'd like to try it again. It's something I'd like to do right at the beginning of the year, maybe like a New Year's resolution, and then try to stick with it for the whole 12 months and see how far I can get. But it's just I seem to play so many different games. It's hard to pick just 10 and play those 10 over and over again.
Yeah.
But
I was even thinking about trying to do start with like a 5x5.
Yeah.
Start with like a 5x5 or something like. I think that kind of tracking will encourage you to play more games.
Yeah.
Right. And and pick out some or even do like
That's valid. That's very valid.
Pick 20 games that I'm going to play at least once or something like that. Those kind of like challenges as opposed to tracking gameplays is just things to make me play some of the games I have that I haven't played in a long time or something like that. So
yeah, that's a good thought.
But
that's what I do with mine. Is I picked a couple of my favorite games. I figured I'd put those on there because those would probably hit the table more often. Then I picked a couple of games that I knew I liked, but I didn't own. So I figured it'd give me a chance to get with the people who own those games and get them to pull it out and play it. And then I took a couple off my shelf of shame, and I was like, okay, these are supposed to be good games, so I want to do that. But again, maybe that scatter shot left me a little too frazzled. I probably need to focus it in. But a 5x5 or something like that just to get it started is a good idea.
And that's what I like the idea of tracking games and using an app, and I was thinking about buying if tracking the games had continued on, I would have bought probably that board game BG Stats game app you have to pay for.
I love that app. That is my go-to. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't I will always forget to do it at a convention or a game day or just, and it's like I don't know. I don't want to work at playing my games.
Yeah, I hear you, and I
agree.
Kind of the same thing. Actually, I was just sitting here. I have started logging mine probably a little less than a year ago, and I'll admit it was partially because of the show. Having the show, I wanted to be able to remember all the games I had played, and sometimes when I played more games, I'd leave some stuff out, and then I'd remember it a couple weeks later, and be like, oh, I meant to talk about that on the show, and I just now that I log them, I can kind of pull them up. But just this last week, we had our Saturday game day last weekend, and so I played 7 games on Saturday game day, and then we had a little game get together for my birthday a couple of days ago, and we played several more games there. And I just were realizing tonight, as I started to kind of write them all down for the show, I forgot to log any of the plays for the birthday game day, and so now I'm trying to go back and remember, okay, what did I play? I don't keep all the details. We've got some guys in our group. I know Michael Lorenzo. He tracks the amount of time it took to play the game. He tracks everybody's scores. He tracks just about everything about the game. I just go on BGG and I just go in, log my play, the day I played it, where I played it, and then I usually log who played it, and then sometimes I usually put them in the order of finish, so first, second, third. I'll just list the players' names, but so I stick fairly light to it. But I understand what you say, that when I forget to log a couple, I go back and then I find that I'm kind of taxing myself trying to oh man, who did I forget? Did I leave somebody out of that, or who finished first, who finished second? So yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I like the ScorePal app I mentioned had like a timer built in where like when you launch the game and you select the players, you hit start and it tracked how long you played. I thought it would be cool if we played the same game multiple times and track, do you get faster at playing a game, or is the game always 90 minutes or 100 minutes?
Right.
But again, not
what are you using that data for is your thing. I get it. And Rob like Rob talked about, he's using it because he's having the conversations on the show.
Right.
And that makes more sense for him. But that's I didn't even think about as when I talked about logging plays or asked that question to begin the show, the idea of a challenge, a 10 by 10 challenge as a method of logging that actually encourages you to play more. So that's a great point, Wayne. I appreciate that, man.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. And, just I would give a quick update. I called, a week or two ago about the Zombie Kids Evolution, the legacy game for kids. And we're about 12 or 13 games in. And it's pretty good. It's real easy. We probably only lost 1 out of every 5 games or so. But, my 7-year-old is into it, man, because he wants to get to that next achievement to open up the next envelope. And, there's challenges in the game, and it's good. I could see it was good. We ended up playing 3-4 games tonight, and he was like, "Hey, it's all right. It's time for bedtime." But he's like, "Yeah, but we lost that last game. I want to keep going. I need to win a game with. We need to win a game with just 2 players to unlock this next thing." And so
cool.
It's a good little game for young kids. So if you got a young kid, it's a fun little game because they definitely most games are 5-10 minutes long.
Cool.
And there's a definite progression there that's sort of teaching them additional rules, and it's adding to the game as it goes on. So it's good. The way it unfolds, I think it'll be good to teach kids little player powers and movement powers and some strategy on how you defeat games. So
start building that foundation
we're enjoying
so that we can get them into Terraforming Mars real soon.
Oh yeah,
that 7-year-old.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I got my copy in about a week ago. Ran through the rules this week and watched a lot of videos on it. I was quite surprised as to how many games it's asking you to play. I mean, the back of the book has this chart. I don't know, it's like 100 different times it wants you to play. And there's stickers inside the rule book. So each time you win, you sticker it with a little brain until you get to a certain point of progress. And when you get that point of progress, it lets you open an envelope.
Oh.
And the envelope's going to add new rules or new challenges.
New stickers. Yeah.
And then
and that's what gets the little kids going, because he wants to add that sticker. And then there's challenges.
Yes.
Where
tell them about the
game
challenges.
One week after. Yeah. So there's different challenges of like play the game with 3 players or 4 players or 2 players, win 3 games in a row. Or I like the ones of win a game 1 week after your first game, then a month after your first game, then 2 months after your first game. And then as you do those challenges, you can put trophies, and it helps fill that brain chart up faster to get to envelopes faster.
The trophies count as 2 stickers, so they're like a double wide sticker that you lay down. So if you achieve
so one sticker goes on the achievement track, and then one sticker goes on the challenge track. So there's like 2 different tracks in the rule book. And it's cool. Yeah. He's like all about, oh man, how many, so if we play this game and the next game, and then we do this challenge, then we'll get to the next envelope. So he's already figuring out like how to get to the next, achievement, which is pretty cool.
Developing that next level of our next generation of gamers, man. I'm glad you brought that one up. It's up on my shelf. This week has been busy. We've had that first week of school. We're now into the second week, kind of getting into a rhythm. And this weekend is the weekend that I've got set aside. I've already read all the rules. I'm ready to go. So I'll be reporting next week on what my kids thought of Zombie Kids.
Yeah, it's real easy. You're like I said, you're probably only going to lose. I think we played like maybe 12 games.
You don't know
13
Carlos.
games and lost twice.
Yeah, Carlos can lose anything. Yeah,
you misunderestimate my profanity for losing.
But it's hey, for little kids, you don't want them to lose too often. You want to,
Oh,
for
yeah.
a 7-year-old losing 1 out of every 5 or 6 times is probably a good way to broach that sort of learning curve. So
yeah, keep it positive.
It's fun. It's a light, fun game. It just kind of teaches them some mechanics, and it's after dinner we can crank out 2-3 of these games before he starts bedtime. And it's real easy. So cool.
So that's Tampa represented again with some awesome conversation, Wayne. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
calling, and have a
Take
good
care.
night. That's Zombie Kids. I know we talked about that one before, and I see it. You just off camera here. You got it up there on the shelf, but yeah, haven't broken into that one yet, though. Have you?
And I want to do. No, I haven't, because I kind of want to do it with your son Ian.
Okay. Yeah.
My son Gabe.
Sure.
The 4 of us.
Yeah.
I know we have Betrayal going. You, me, your daughter Emmy.
Yeah.
We tried. My middle son Julian.
He
But-
kind of played 1 or 2, and then he.
Teenage boy. He's
Yeah.
over there playing video games. He's done.
Yeah, that's his
He's
thing.
done.
But we can do something with the younger ones.
Ian would love it. Yeah,
That's my
little
thought,
kids. Yeah.
especially the zombie theme. But Wayne talked about that 10 by 10. I didn't even think about that as a way of doing logging of plays without actually logging plays.
I think maybe you should do that with all your games are still in shrink.
Oh,
Like a lot.
I like doing things that I could succeed at, not set myself up for failure.
Yeah. Or maybe a 10 by 2 or a 10 by 3. Again, that 10 by 10, it's 100 games, and so it doesn't sound.
Mitchell
so bad.
says a 10 by 10
Well, yeah,
challenge.
it's his normal week. Yeah.
Yeah, in the chat he says it sounds like a normal week for him.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but not too much for Mitchell. He's doing a lot of gaming, but I do like the idea. Again, I see people doing these 10 by 10s, and so I kind of went in it with the mindset, well, that's what you got to do. You got to do a 10 by 10, but I like the thought of maybe let's say 5 by 5 or like I said, maybe even a 10 by 3 or a 10 by 4, just playing one game or 10 different games 3 or 4 times is still a pretty decent accomplishment. So
No, I think what Ashley did, which we posted a picture of in the Beans and Dice Facebook group. If you guys aren't a member, check it out. Go to the Beans and Dice Facebook page. It's a group that's connected to us. It's where we share what we've been playing. But she got a poster from Etsy on the top 100 games of BGG.
that's right. Yep.
They're scratch off.
Right.
So
I've seen
as
that.
you play each game of the top 100, you scratch them off, and that's another way of logging plays that I didn't even think
I
about.
think they have a little artwork or something under each one. So when you scratch them, it shows you a little artwork from the game or something, which is really cool. So it was a great idea for I've seen that posted up on Dice Tower site and some other places. But yeah, it looks really cool. Got another caller coming in.
Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Yo, it's Lorenzo from Temple Terrace.
Hey, Michael, what's going on?
Hey, one mic, one game.
Yes, my ears were burning.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, boy.
What did you hear? What'd you hear? Yeah.
You poking fun at his logging of plays?
Oh, no. It wasn't
No.
poking
I
fun.
I don't take it as poking fun. It's,
Yeah.
I'm kind of OCD about stuff like that.
Oh, no.
so
I think it's great. We've had many games where we've turned to you afterwards. We said, Mike, how long
No,
did
if
that take?
Mike's at the table, I don't
Yeah.
even worry about logging. I just
Yeah.
take a picture of his when we're done.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Maybe
No-
someone needs to develop an app that does that. Just take a picture of someone else's login plays.
Yeah, certainly no
Yeah.
poking fun there. I was being honest. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, I was just calling to kind of touch on the BG Stats app.
Sure.
So I definitely paid for the full version. I don't know if there's a demo version of it or not, but they had like little modules that they're like $2 or something like that. And I just got them because I'm kind of like a stats guy as well. You know, I like looking at pie charts and saying,
Yes.
we're
Sure.
at a 72% win rate with this particular game or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they actually have, you can set up your own personal achievements within the app.
Oh.
So I've had the app, I don't know, maybe a couple of years, and I got to the point where I just stopped, tracking everything. And I was thinking, why did I even buy this app if I'm not going to track it? So I made a point of starting to track all my games from the beginning of this year. And I found this little, you can, like the one that I'm doing, which there's no way I'm going to, now that I'm thinking about it and everything going on in my life, there's one that's like, all the games that you haven't played, you give it like a time frame. So I gave it a year, that you have a year to play all the games that you haven't played yet.
Wow.
And every time that you log a game that you haven't played, it'll, pop up like a little window like, hey, this game went toward your achievement.
Huh.
This is how many you have left, and that type of thing. But you can create your own. So I think they actually have one, they have like a couple of pre-configured ones. And I think the 10 by 10 is actually built into the app, like already configured. So that you can
Yeah,
start
I
adding
didn't
your
know
games.
about this feature. I've got it in front of me
Looking at it
now,
right now,
and
yeah.
I've pulled it up. I'm gonna pay the $1.99 for this. There's the
Right. It's worth it to me,
Yeah, it turns like into a little mini game almost. You can challenge yourself to do different things. And,
No,
Yeah.
that's Carlos's mindset. He loves those little apps and statistic numbers.
But
and
and
stuff like that.
that's probably why I love baseball so much as a sport and being a coach and a baseball
stats.
dad. The stats. If you played on my
Yeah.
team in baseball, I'm going to give you all your stats. I'm going to give you your RBIs, your slugging. I'm going to give you everything at the end of the season because the kids love it too. They can compare themselves to
Sure.
other baseball players. They can see how many bases they stole. I had a full Excel
You can get them
spreadsheet on each
addicted
kid.
to it.
Kids love a good slugging.
So Michael's in my wheelhouse with that baseball reference, with the statistician feel of it. Now, Michael, a lot of folks have called in today, and I've noticed a theme in their thoughts about this, and that's data integrity. Right, the fact that they miss recording
Yeah.
a day or two makes them feel like, why even continue recording because that data is not 100% accurate. What do you think of it?
I mean, I think some people, and I kind of consider myself in the same group, but you have to overlook certain faults, whether they're with yourself or other things. But it's like, yeah, I understand that, and people may have their own thoughts. But me personally, it's like, okay, I missed that day. If I can remember the game that I played or games that I played, I'll enter them as best as I can, but I'll just, tap it, like, don't count this toward stats, because you can always tick that inside BG stats.
That's a new feature I learned about now. Keep going. Keep training me on this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But, if you miss one or two, it's like, I forgot to do laundry yesterday. I'm not going to stop doing laundry for the rest of my life. That's kind of how I look at it. I can't take it that serious, because then it does take the fun out of it. I like doing it because it's fun to look up the stats, or,
Yeah.
if you're poking fun at somebody, like, we know Dan always has that, 100%, win rate that he likes to, and I'll pull up again. Well, this one right here, it says that you actually lost, 3 out of the 10 times that we played.
Hit him with the
Right.
actually.
Yeah, that's
actually. Yeah,
smack you with a stat or two. Yeah,
based on this pie chart.
Once it stops being fun,
yeah,
then it's not something I think you should be doing. That's my personal thought on it.
And that's probably the message to all the folks out there.
Yeah.
If it isn't fun for you, don't do it. Don't waste your time on it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Robert's message was if for him it's more necessity, so he can remember what he played and how it went to talk about it.
More utilitarian. Yeah, it's
Right.
something. Yeah, I've got a purpose for doing it. So because I just got a bad memory, and so I'd like to be able to be a little more thorough. So yeah.
And I think Mike and I are on the other spectrum of we just like to look at stats to see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Who's got highest score and when that happened and how many players are in that
And I'm
game.
glad I got you to do that because now
Yeah.
you can do that part of it for me.
Right.
So-
And I'm going to open up this 10 by 10 challenge,
boy.
and I'm going to accept William's challenge to play shrinked games.
Oh, yeah?
Because there's a challenge here for play my unplayed owned games.
Yeah.
The Shelf of Shame.
There you go.
I'm going to do that challenge.
Yep.
I didn't know about
My
those
problem
features.
Oh,
was,
right. That means we get to play all these war games now.
my problem was when I said, I'm going to play all the games that I haven't played. It was like 100 games.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And I
that's a 10 by
felt
10 right
horrible.
there.
I was like, whoa, okay. I obviously have an issue. This is these are bringing personal things to light with me.
Someone's turned into a collector, more than a player. Yeah.
Hey, there are people like that. I consider myself right in the middle.
Sure.
I like collecting and I like playing.
And we appreciate that because some of us don't have a lot of games, like me.
Yeah, and then there's always other people that have games that you don't have, and they're around to play. So anyway,
cool.
That's a great
I'll let you
mindset.
guys get back to your show. I just figured I'd touch on that one
that's great.
thing within the app.
Bro, that was a very good phone call. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in.
All right, guys.
We'll see you tonight for
Have
the
a game.
podcast, right?
That you will.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, again, folks, check us out on the podcast. Mike's on it. Check out Mike's channel, One Mike, One Game, on YouTube, where he talks about solo games. And we'll be on the podcast
Literally
later
one
tonight.
game.
He's got one game up so far, so I got to get on that. Yeah.
He's trying to stay to the
100%.
title.
Yeah.
Stay to his title.
Yep.
Have a good
Okay,
night. We'll
guys.
talk to you
Take
later.
care.
See ya. Yep. Bye.
That was Mike Lorenzo from Temple Terrace. So that was a great call. Those are awesome
Yeah.
features I never heard of.
There's good points. Yeah.
We got some conversation in the chats about the board game stats. Wayne talks about Carlos with board game sabermetrics. Wayne, it's not a joke. I've read probably 4 or 5 different stat books on baseball, just what the stats are, what they mean, how they're written, and what we should be doing them. That to me is part of the big reason I love baseball is the stats of it.
Yeah. We got, was it Mr. Jeeves in there saying he's also a baseball fan, kind of noticing a trend here that maybe baseball guys like stats. Big surprise, big shocker. Yeah.
That's yeah.
So baseball's not a sport. It's just stats.
Just a bunch of stats. Yeah. Well,
the best stats.
with the
the
speed
best
it
stats
moves
of
at,
any
you
sport.
got to enjoy the stats part of it because it's a slow game.
Wow, we got a dichotomy here. So Wayne talks about having 34 owned and unplayed games here, whereas Mitchell literally has one game on the Shelf of Shame.
That's crazy.
So he would achieve. Hey Mitchell, get the app.
What does he do? Does he wake up and all right, board game time, let's go?
Yeah. Well, if you can, I wish I could. Yeah.
If Robert could, he would.
Yeah, I would.
He was, as you saw here. Robert talked about his birthday game
birthday,
day.
yeah.
You see the happy birthday sign back there. Robert celebrated his birthday this week over here at the Beans and Dice
Studio.
The studio. Robert was like, "Hey," I asked him, "What time do you want to start?" He goes, "As early as possible."
It's like, what time are you getting up? Yeah.
So I think I picked him up at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 7:30. Yeah, we got back here just after 8. We picked up some breakfast on the way, and yep.
Yep, and then played board games all the way to the end of the night.
Yeah, until about 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
I wanted so bad to take the day off work.
Yeah, Mitchell says happy belated birthday.
Thank you, Mitchell.
So yep, we spent the whole. It was a great game day.
I wanted to play. I just wanted to just.
I was stunned because Robert said we're starting off with TI4.
Yeah, well, I knew a couple of the people who were coming had never played, and I know particularly Dan, you had talked to him many times about trying to set up a day of TI4, so...
Which means he's going to want to play again, win once, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not Rob's favorite game at all.
No, it's definitely not my favorite. So Carlos was a little shocked. He was like, "Are you sure?"
I actually called him
do that
separately
on your
outside of
birthday?
the chat.
What did I say? When I saw you posted, I called you and said, well, what are y'all playing?
Yeah.
Y'all playing some TI4? I'm like, That's not normal.
Yeah, so it took us a little while to get into it. I underestimated the teach a little bit with 2 new players, so that took a little longer than I'd hoped. So we actually ended up cutting it short. I reserved the right to call it after 6 hours. That was going into it. I'd said if we get to 6 hours, I'm going to reserve the right to pull the plug, and so we got
that he did.
Yeah, so right at that point, although I think it was fairly unanimous, other than maybe Carlos. I think Carlos wanted to keep playing, but the other 2 were cool with it. Like, okay, no, we've seen enough. We learned it, and I think that first time you play, you make mistakes. I think both Dan and Ben mentioned that they would have done a few things differently. So it doesn't hurt, 6 hours.
I didn't even record that game in the book. I didn't even log it.
Yeah, I didn't log it at all either.
It was a learning game.
Yeah, exactly. So
the whole time we spent, we were smoking pork.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
a new caller. Leave that there.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Oh man.
Hey, gentlemen, this is Nick.
Nick Oben.
Travel, Florida.
How are you?
How you doing, guys?
Is it via the Maryland route this week?
So no, actually, I'm having the fun experience of I woke up this morning in our nation's capital, lovely Washington D.C. and
awesome.
Now I'm in fact back in Wesley Chapel. So
sweet.
Yeah,
wow, that's fast.
I did my work thing this week and flew home just in time to make in time for your college.
I was hoping to check off a caller
Yeah.
from Maryland, but he failed me again.
Oh no, well, that's all right.
Sorry.
He's freshly from Maryland. He really is from Maryland, so yeah, you've got it.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking
There you go.
from Maryland.
I woke up this morning, up there. It's fine, whatever.
Right.
No, but you guys were just talking about TI4, my favorite game of all time. So I figured now was the time for me to
Time to perk up. Yeah.
That's when his ears were ringing. Do you log your games, Nick?
I do, and I have nothing. I don't think I have anything unique and special to add. I heard Michael just called in. You had some other folks. I use the Board Game Geek app, the VG Stats app. I started logging a couple, maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Part of it was actually the Gloomhaven.
I was going to ask if you've logged our 100+ hours of Gloomhaven.
Yeah, and actually, so it's funny because that's that campaign, of course, has transcended so long. We played, I think, a good 15 or 20 times before I started logging, and then I started I started logging because I was like, man, I want to see like how it goes and what's going on. So actually, it started as a way to just kind of track the Gloomhaven hours and progress and sessions and win ratios and how we're doing. But then it was relatively easy. The app is good. The app is nice. I also have I paid whatever it was, a few bucks to get the paid version, and it's easy to use. I don't log play time, like how long a game takes.
Oh, that would be a good
probably
one.
because probably because if I did, it would tell a sad story about my own.
Just like Diego doesn't like to log his loss streaks, his losing streaks. You don't like to log the time, so it doesn't remind you.
Exactly. No, but it has been really neat. The kids get into it. You mentioned like your baseball players like the stats. I'll log plays, and I do try to do scores as well. So then, like if Landis gets a high score in silver and gold or whatever, I'll be like, "Hey, buddy, it's your high score." Like whether you win or lost. So it becomes a personal progression as well.
Cool.
that you can track and see how you're doing. So they like that. I like seeing the number of people you play with because I tried. If I think I'm ever going to play with this person again, I'll throw them into my system as like first name only, or I'll associate the player with someone. So like I've got some Blood Bowl players in there that we played in league that they're not part of necessarily a regular gaming group, but I hope to play Blood Bowl with them again sometime. So I've got some guys in there from the league, like, oh yeah, I played, Jim Blood Bowl or whatever, right? So then you can actually see it's not just the anonymous players, but I can tell you that I played 53 games with 56 different people.
I love that stat. That's one of the biggest stats I like looking at is how many different people I play games with.
My stats tell me that I play a lot with Rob.
Oh yeah, imagine that. Well, again, over 100 hours of Gloomhaven alone will swing that a little bit. So
I think we won't get too much into it now. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. So I play at home Dan will be happy to hear the number 2 location I play is your turn.
There you go.
According to my stats for 2021.
Cool.
And Landis is number 1. The person I play with. Number 2 is Rob.
There you go.
And there it is.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's neat. But you get a bunch of stuff here. You get player counts. I'm just looking at my dashboard now. I like the Insights dashboard. You get player counts. So I play a lot of 3-player. That's the Gloomhaven right there. Days of the week as well. And then I am a data guy. So like I'll look at this and be like, it looks like I need to play more board games on Wednesday because it's falling behind. Okay. Let's play something. Let's play something this.
It's like a gas tank. It's getting a little low. I got to fill it up again.
Keep things even.
And see, it's always then it does become a gamification. You mentioned this before. It becomes a game to do the gaming because what will happen is I'll be like, okay, cool. Let's plan to play something at home on Wednesday, and then it's great. We put it on the calendar, right? We get to do it. So it encourages you to play more if you want to, get your stats up. And then the biggest one I'll do is you mentioned earlier the 5x5s or the 10x10s.
Yes.
Yep.
So the BG Stats app lets you track your current score. Your current, they call it the H index. I don't know if that's come up earlier in the hour. It's the number of games that you have played that many times. So like, for instance, my H index is 6 right now. There are 6 games this year that I have played 6 times or more. And then it really does show you how difficult it is to get to that 10x10, because in order for my H index to go up to 7, not only do I have to play a 7th game a bunch, but all of those first 6, I need to play a 7th time.
Yeah.
Right? And so, Carlos, you'll be happy to hear Blood Bowl is at 20 plays with me right now. That's my number 1, actually, more than Gloomhaven.
I just started recording my Blood Bowl games. Like I originally didn't, but when we did the league this most recently, I just started. But let me throw in my H index. I had no idea what this was. I'm learning a lot about BG stats today, guys. My H index is 5. So I've got 5 games that were played at least 5 times that I've recorded.
Okay, cool.
That's pretty cool, Nick. Thanks for sharing that with me. H index. Had no idea what that was. We can do like a webinar on BG stats.
Just how to run the BGG
as
a
community service.
If you're on the actual app, the phone app, they'll then even draw the little line. They'll draw the line on your games played where you can see, okay, here are those 5 that you played five or more times, and then you can see again all in the interest of encouraging you to play more games. I can tell you that my best shot at getting my score up to 7 is either Palm Island or Silver and Gold. Those are sitting at 5 plays each right now.
Wow, look at Mr. Jeeves.
And
Mr. Jeeves is commenting saying his H index is 7.
Where's Mitchell's?
He doesn't use BG stats.
He's probably like 11.
It goes to 11.
Yeah, so it does show you the line. I see what you're talking about, Nick. It gives you a line to show you the games that are in your 5, then it shows you the game just below that is like right there on the cusp of being there.
Yep.
And then
it's fun.
Champions of Midgard is my number 8, right, Rob? So if we can get some more Champions of Midgard in, it's going to quickly shoot up into that line. So that gives you a challenge. See, this does. So this app can help encourage you to play different games or older games more often. I think I'm in.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and if you don't worry too much about getting everything exactly right, like you said, if it's not fun, then don't do it. So just noting who you played with and what games you played is honestly the biggest part for me. I do then track the wins and losses and scores because I think that is also interesting, and but it's not hard. Like it's not hard to add that.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's directionally accurate. That's the word we use at work, right? You know, these numbers are only directionally accurate, and that's good enough when it comes to board games.
There you go. Yes,
well, Nick, thank you for sharing, man. I appreciate it. Hey, shout out. Let's plug your Wesley Chapel group. You got a Wesley Chapel Facebook board game group. You've got an event coming up. What's going on with that?
I think you just did, but yeah, rock and roll. Wesley Chapel Board Gaming on Facebook as well. We actually have a decent member count, but then we'll have a monthly get-together. We started doing it again in May, after the pandemic. We shut us down for a while. And so the last Saturday of every month, we do games at the Grove Shopping Center, which I'm happy to make this a plug for the Grove Shopping Center in Wesley Chapel as well. It's really come up. It's awesome. There's axe throwing there. There's a dueling piano bar there. There's a brewery where we do games in the afternoon. There's a good coffee shop. There's an ice cream shop that sells boozy ice cream. And I mean, it's just great. It's a good time. So we do games at the Grove. We meet for coffee in the morning, do some light games, grab coffee, and then head over to the brewery, the Double Branch Artisanal Ales, and we do beer, lunch, and board games last Saturday of every month. So it'll be Saturday, August 28th is this next one.
That's a good time. I've been out a couple times. Yeah, lots of fun.
I'm glad to hear it. Wish you the best on that, and hope to see you soon for some gaming. I know you and I are talking about getting some Tiny Epic going, so we get these Tiny Epics reviewed.
That would be fun. We can log a bunch of plays. Be so good.
Definitely.
Tiny Epically.
Logging those plays.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Man, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for calling.
Take care, Nick.
Have a good night, Nick.
Night.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, that was Nick Oben of Wesley Chapel. Man, these tips and tricks that the folks are providing.
Yeah, they say opening the logging of plays seems to have hit a nerve here, so people want to talk about their logging.
Well, I'm also a little surprised. My places, right? Nick talked about his second place to play games. My second place to play games was Escape WinterCon.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like, I've logged the second most played games at Escape WinterCon.
On a convention. Wow.
So we did a lot of gaming that year.
I guess so. Yeah, must have been. Yeah.
So hopefully we can get cons going again and get more plays logged. My third behind it, so 12% of my games were logged at Escape WinterCon. 10% were logged at Your Turn.
Okay.
And then 9% were logged at Armada.
I think Your Turn would definitely be my second.
Since I started logging games. Yeah. So it's I got some at Miller's Ale House.
Okay, a little
Glory Days
pocket games. Yeah,
The Basement. I remember that when Nick hosted a game day at the basement.
Yeah,
it's a bar here in Wesley Chapel. Yeah, I like playing games at pubs, eating and playing games. That's a big thing for me.
We got time for maybe one more caller if somebody wants to sneak in here before the 10 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock Eastern. But so hit us up. We. Like I say, it's about 5 minutes to 10.
Unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to that one. Are you?
Well, I'm trying to. The weekend before, we're going to be out of town in St. Louis. We're not driving back to like Monday, Tuesday.
So somebody in the chat had asked about Escape WinterCon this year. But
yeah, I'm trying to get there. I want to support. So even if it means just doing a one-day thing, driving over for Saturday and coming back.
About maybe just doing a day.
So that may be the most that I do is just drive in on Saturday and drive back.
Yeah.
So that's Cutlery on the board game on the YouTube chats is asking about Escape WinterCon. So that's the plan.
Yeah, that's a 5-day con, I think. I believe it's 5 days. Is that right? Yeah, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The group here and eventually go to Gen Con.
Oh, what are these years? Gen Con?
We go Gen Con one of these years.
Yeah, one of these years we will.
Well, last year was supposed to be our year. I had tickets.
Last year, yeah.
I had tickets. Michael Lorenzo and I were gonna road trip it out there. We were ready to go. Like we had plans.
Reserve the Winnebago.
I believe it was myself, him, his son.
Yeah.
We were all gonna road trip. I think both his sons. We were gonna road trip out there.
Yeah, I would fly.
And then it just all went to heck.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about maybe going next year.
Well, it's cool. We got Dano Cervantes up in Indiana. I'm sure he's got a couch we can use.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about doing PAX Unplugged. We've talked about all kinds of things. I talked about Essen. I'd love to go over to do Essen one year, so that'd be fun. Yeah.
Wayne says he loves games in pubs. Me too. And that's partly part of why I try to sleeve all the games I like that are pubable. I don't know if that's a word.
Pubable?
I'm going to make it.
Portable.
Games that you could play in a pub.
Yeah.
It'd be pubable.
It's pubable.
Pubable.
Really?
Like The King is Dead.
New word
right?
in the dictionary, right?
Small footprint, not a lot of cards.
Yeah.
I love to sleeve those games. I want to make sure I sleeve those games because I want to be able to take them to a last minute.
That's a good one. You got a lot of cubes in that one. I don't know if that makes it quite as easy, but still, yeah, it's a good game.
Wayne says Gen Con rocks for gaming for sure. True Dungeon is amazing. That's their escape room before escape rooms were escape rooms.
Yeah,
like I think it's a RPG style activity that you do where you get challenged with different events. Yeah, Gen Con sounds amazing. This year it kind of stunk because Escape WinterCon is that same week as what they moved. Everybody seemed to have moved everything to.
Well, everybody's trying to compress everything into the last part of the year since everything was pushed back. So yeah.
Skull, great pub game. I played that one. That's actually here on my list. Played Skull at Miller's Ale House.
There you go. Boom.
But the only worry, Wayne, when you talk about pub games,
that one looks like, oh, this is a coaster.
Yeah.
Right. That's the biggest worry is all the Skull pieces look like coasters, and it was Michael Lorenzo's copy, and I could see the fear in his eyes.
God.
Yeah. Don't touch it. Don't spill anything.
Like, what are you doing? Get your beer
Diego says, make sure you sleeve your cubes.
Oh, there, absolutely. Yeah, your cubes and your dice. Yeah.
A little bit of a saran wrap.
Yeah.
Sleeve the cubes.
Sleeve your dice. Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap us up for today's episode. It was a great episode.
Yeah, a lot of callers today. That was good.
A lot of conversation around it. Hopefully, Rob and I are going to try to do our best to come up with different topics or questions to ask.
Talked about that a little bit. The last few shows, we've just kind of left it open, and we've had fewer callers. So we're thinking maybe if maybe 24 hours ahead of time, we post just at least a talking point, and people are always encouraged to call and talk about whatever you want to talk about, games you're playing, that kind of stuff. But we'll try to put a little topic out there to start some conversation. So I think that'll help.
Yep. If you have ideas, make sure you comment here or hit us up in the Facebook group. Yep. Or we're in our Discord. The Facebook group has a link to the Discord as well. Let us know what topics you think would be good.
Yep.
But we're going to get into recording the podcast here for y'all that we try to put up. Yeah, Mr. Jeeves, you're right. Great conversation.
Yeah, it was fun tonight.
Try to put up on the podcast. I'm trying to get it out every Sunday. I think this Sunday was a little late. We had a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Yeah, we had Saturday game day. We had birthday
stuff
for
on Monday.
Rob on Monday.
Yep.
But the goal is to get it out on Sundays. So we're going to go record that. Hopefully see you there. And then also, folks, the second Saturday, second week of September, we're going to be
Carlos
that
and I.
Thursday. Rob and I, we're going to be at on our way to St. Louis for the Stonemeyer Designer Day.
Yep.
It's like a prototype testing day that we got invited out to. So that may mean that we won't have a call-in show that Thursday. I'm trying to find ways to make that happen. We may end up doing something like a best ofs or something, but give y'all a heads up on that. So, but thank you. Make sure to like, be sure to subscribe, follow on Facebook or Discord, where we chat more about games. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I'm William.
And we are the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.